Number 7. The Gunilda. Named after an old Germanic name meaning war, the Gunilda was a luxury steam yacht that sank in Lake Superior in 1911. She was built in Scotland in 1897 for an English owner. She was 195 feet long and had a speed of 14 knots. In 1903, the Gunilda was bought by William L. Harkness, a wealthy oil baron from Ohio. He took the yacht on many voyages around the world, visiting exotic places like Cuba and Panama along the way. He also brought her to the Great Lakes in 1910, where he enjoyed fishing and hunting. But on August 11, 1911, while sailing near Rossport, Ontario, the Gunilda ran aground on McGarvey Shoal, which is on the northern side of Copper Island. Harkness tried to save his yacht with the help of a tugboat, but she rolled over and sank to the bottom of the lake. Defeated, Harkness left Lake Superior and never returned. The Gunilda remained on the lake bed for decades until she was rediscovered in 1967 by divers. She was still intact with her gilded hull, her wooden deck, and her brass fittings. She was a time capsule of the early 20th century, a testament to the elegance and craftsmanship of her era. From then on, she became a popular destination for divers who wanted to see her beauty and mystery. She also became the subject of several failed salvage attempts. In 1980, Jacques Cousteau filmed the wreckage of the Gunilda with a diving saucer, but his team didn't attempt to raise her. Today, the Gunilda is still resting in 270 feet of water, protected by the Ontario Heritage Act. She's considered one of the most beautiful shipwrecks in the world and one of the best preserved examples of a steam yacht. She's also a reminder of the dangers and challenges of sailing on Lake Superior, where fog, rocks, and storms can claim even the finest of vessels. Number 6. The Black Sea's hidden shipwrecks. Imagine finding a shipwreck that's so well preserved that you can see the chisel marks on the wood, the coils of rope on the deck, and the cargo in the hold. Now imagine not finding one, but dozens of such shipwrecks spanning over 2,500 years of history. That's exactly what happened to a team of sailors and scientists who were exploring the floor of the Black Sea for clues about how ancient humans adapted to rising sea levels. They were using sonar and underwater robots to map the seabed and collect samples, but they also stumbled upon something unexpected. 41 shipwrecks from different cultures from the Roman, medieval, ancient Greek, and Byzantine eras. But how did these shipwrecks survive so long in such good condition? The answer lies in the unique water chemistry of the Black Sea. Below 492 feet, the water has no oxygen and very little salt. This means that there's no life and no corrosion. Anything that sinks to this depth stays frozen in time. The team was amazed by their discovery and decided to document and study the shipwrecks using advanced technology. They created stunning 3D images of some of the vessels and even 3D printed some of the artifacts. They also learned more about the history and trade of the region by analyzing the ships and their contents. The team named their project Black Sea Map for Maritime Archaeological Project and continued their survey until 2017. And by then, they had found 60 shipwrecks in total, making it one of the largest collection of shipwrecks ever discovered. The Black Sea Map wrecks are a treasure trove of information and beauty for archaeologists and divers alike. They're also a reminder of the rich and diverse maritime history of the Black Sea. Number 5. The Mary Rose. The Mary Rose was a warship that belonged to King Henry VIII of England, the guy who had 6 wives and liked to chop their heads off. He loved his ship more than he loved his women, but sadly, it didn't last very long. Between 1509 and 1511, the Mary Rose was constructed in Portsmouth. It was a big and impressive vessel, measuring about 150 feet long and weighing about 600 tons. It had 4 masts, 3 decks, and up to 80 guns. It could also carry about 500 men, including sailors, soldiers, and gunners. The Mary Rose was Henry's flagship, which means it was the most important ship in his navy. He used it to fight against his enemies, mainly the French. The Mary Rose fought in 3 wars and won several battles. It was a fearsome sight on the sea, with its red and white Tudor colors and its carved wooden roses. But the Mary Rose also had some problems. She was very heavy and slow, and she needed a lot of wind to move. She also had a high center of gravity, which made her unstable and prone to tipping over. Henry tried to fix these issues by rebuilding the ship in 1536, and he also added more guns, more decks, and more weight, which turned out to be a horrible mistake. On July 19, 1545, the Mary Rose met her fate. It was sailing in the Solent, a channel near Portsmouth, when it encountered a large French fleet. Henry watched from the shore as his ship prepared for battle. The Mary Rose fired its guns at the enemy and tried to turn around, but during all this, something went wrong. Some say that the ship was hit by a French cannonball, but others say that it was overloaded with too many men and guns. There's even those who believe that it was caught by a sudden gust of wind. But whatever the reason may be, the ship tilted to one side and water rushed into its open gun ports. The Mary Rose then sank within minutes, taking almost all of its crew with it. Henry was heartbroken by the loss of his favorite ship. He offered a reward for anyone who could raise it, but no one succeeded. The Mary Rose remained on the seabed floor for over 400 years, forgotten and covered with mud. But in 1971, a team of divers found the wreck of the Mary Rose and decided to bring it back to the surface. It took them 11 years of hard work and careful planning, but on October 11, 1982, they finally lifted the ship out of the water in front of millions of TV viewers. The Mary Rose was then taken to a museum in Portsmouth, where it's still displayed today. It's one of the best preserved ships from the 16th century and a treasure trove of Tudor history. It has over 19,000 artifacts, including weapons, tools, clothes, games, musical instruments, and even a dog skeleton. The Mary Rose is a fascinating story of triumph and tragedy, of glory and disaster. And if you ever get a chance to visit it, don't miss out on the opportunity. Just make sure you don't get too close to the gun ports. Number 4. The mystery of the HMS Terror. The Franklin expedition was a British naval mission that left in 1845 to look for the Northwest Passage, a route from Europe to Asia through the Arctic. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it turned out to be a disaster. The two ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, got trapped in the ice and never came back. The 129 crew members on board the vessels also disappeared without a trace. For over 100 years, people wondered what happened to them and their ships. Some theories suggested they died of hunger, sickness, or even cannibalism. But others believe they were killed by polar bears, Inuit hunters, or supernatural forces, although there's no evidence to support any of these claims. That all changed, though, in 2014, when a team of archaeologists found the wreck of the HMS Erebus in a remote bay off King William Island. And 2 years later, they found the HMS Terror in a very unexpected place, 60 miles south of where they thought it would be. But how did it end up there? Did some of the crew try to sail it to a better place? Or did it move with the currents? For now, at least, there are no answers, but we do know that the ship is in remarkable condition. It still has its masts, rigging, and swivel guns, as well as its cabins, furniture, and personal items. But the vessel also has its secrets. The discovery of the HMS Terror is one of the most fascinating and significant shipwrecks ever found. It teaches us a lot about the history of exploration, the difficulties of the Arctic, and the lives of the men who risked everything to find a new route to Asia. It also raises new questions and mysteries that we hope to answer someday. Number 3. Baltic Sea Shipwreck. A team of researchers has made a remarkable discovery in the Baltic Sea, a shipwreck that's almost perfectly preserved after 500 years. The ship, which dates back to the 15th or 16th century, is a rare and valuable find that could potentially shed light on the history and culture of the Age of Discovery. The shipwreck was found in 2019 by a team of researchers who were mapping the seafloor of the Baltic Sea using sonar and underwater robots. The ship is about 52.5 feet long and 16.5 feet wide. and it lies at a depth of 394 feet. It has a high mast, a bowsprit, and a transom stern, which are typical features of ships from that era. The vessel is in such good condition that it looks like it just sank yesterday. However, the shipwreck also poses a mystery. Nobody knows where it came from or what it was doing in the Baltic Sea. The researchers haven't found any clues or artifacts that could reveal its origin or purpose. It could be a merchant ship, a warship, or something entirely different. It could have originated from Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Poland, or any other country that had access to the Baltic Sea in the 15th or 16th centuries. The researchers hope to find out more about the shipwreck by conducting further investigations and analyses. They also plan to share their findings with the public and the scientific community. The wreck is a treasure trove of information that could enrich our understanding of the past and inspire our imagination for the future. Number 2. The SAS Somerset. Have you ever wondered what it was like to be a sailor in World War II? Or how ships were built and maintained back then? Well, you can find out by visiting the SAS Somerset, a historic ship that's now a museum in Cape Town. The SAS Somerset was constructed in the English town of Blyth in 1941. It was initially given the name HMS Barcross, and it had a special job to do: to lay and protect nets that stopped enemy submarines from sneaking into harbors and waterways. HMS Barcross and its twin sister, HMS Barbreak, traveled to South Africa in 1942 and joined the South African Navy. They then changed their names to HMSAS Barcross and HMSAS Barbreak to fit in better. After the war, the South African government bought HMS Barcross and gave it a new name, SAS Somerset, after a brave horse that had carried a man named Dick King on a long and heroic ride in 1842. The SAS Somerset had many different tasks over the years, such as dumping old ammunition into the sea, rescuing sunken ships, and laying oil pipes. It also got some upgrades, like new boilers and an engine. It was a hard-working and versatile ship that served its country well. The SAS Somerset retired in 1986 and became a museum in 1988. It's now parked at the Victoria and Alfred waterfront in Cape Town, where it welcomes visitors who want to learn more about its history and see what it looks like on the inside. It's one of only 4 museum ships that are still floating in South Africa, and it's also one of the oldest surviving naval vessels in the world. It's truly a treasure of maritime history that shows the role of the South African Navy in World War II and beyond. And at number 1, the Khufu ship. Did you know that the oldest ship in the world isn't a Viking longship, a Roman galley, or a Chinese junk, but an Egyptian solar bark? That's right. The Khufu ship is the world's oldest intact ship and was buried with the pharaoh Khufu in his pyramid over 4,500 years ago. The Khufu ship is a solar bark, which means that it was used to carry the pharaoh's soul across the sky with the sun god Ra. It's 142 feet long and 19 feet wide, and it's made of cedar wood from Lebanon. It also has no mast or sail, but it does have 12 oars and a steering oar at the stern. The Khufu ship was discovered in 1954 by an archaeologist named Kamal El-Malach, who found it in a sealed pit next to the Great Pyramid of Giza. It took him and his team 14 years to carefully dismantle and reassemble the ship, which was made of 1,224 pieces. They also found ropes, tools, pottery, and a model boat in the pit. The Khufu ship is now on display at the Grand Egyptian Museum near Cairo, where you can admire its ancient craftsmanship and learn more about its history and symbolism. It's a remarkable example of how the ancient Egyptians honored their rulers and their gods.
7. SS President Coolidge. The SS President Coolidge was constructed in 1931 and was designed as a luxury passenger liner. A decade into her service, she was relinquished to be part of the US war effort, helping to transport soldiers and goods to key military locations. For the first year of her service, SS President Coolidge operated under her civilian guise. However, after being dispatched to Australia in January 1942 in a large supply convoy transporting troops, guns, ammunition and supplies. She was fully refitted for military use as a troop ship. She was painted in the US Navy's traditional haze grey color, and she had her interior reconfigured, leaving all the luxury fixtures and fittings for civilian guests boarded over to make more space to hold troops and supplies. To defend herself in hostile waters, she also had guns mounted on her deck. With her refit completed, SS President Coolidge continued to serve as a cargo vessel in the Southwest Pacific Theater, visiting places like Bora Bora, Auckland, Suva, and Wellington. She even had the honor of transporting the then president of the Philippines, Manuel Quezon, from Melbourne, Australia to San Francisco. Then, on October 6, 1942, she began her final journey from San Francisco to New Caledonia and the New Hebrides. Her passengers included the 172nd Infantry Combat Unit, the 43rd Division, and the Harbour Defense Unit. The latter was headed to safeguard the new bomber base on the island of Santo in the Pacific that was supporting the Allied forces in Guadalcanal. Santo posed a danger to SS President Coolidge. Not only did she and her crew have to be wary of Japanese ships and submarines that could be prowling the waters, but there was another threat as well. In order to keep Japanese and other enemy vessels out of Santo, a network of mines had been set up around the harbor. However, the location of these underwater mines was kept a secret by the US Navy, so SS President Coolidge had no idea where any of the mines were. During her approach to Santo on October 26th, the ship hit one of the mines, which subsequently detonated near her engine room. Moments later, she struck another one, this time blasting through her stern. The ship's captain, Henry Nelson, knew that the ship was doomed. And in an effort to save as many lives as possible, he made a beeline for shallow water in order to ground the vessel before it could sink. Amazingly, out of the 5,340 men on board, there were only 2 casualties. Thanks to where the ship was run aground by her captain, many of those on board were able to simply walk to shore. However, some men were trapped below deck, and Captain Ewart of the 103rd Field Artillery Regiment went back to save them. He was able to pull them out one by one with a rope, but the effort left him too tired to evacuate the ship himself. This, unfortunately, caused him to be one of the men that perished, alongside fireman Robert Reed, who lost his life in the explosion that hit the engine room. Although most of her crew and passengers made it out safely, the same fate wasn't shared by SS President Coolidge. The ship was stuck on a coral reef and slowly began to lean to one side before slipping into the deeper water of the Santo shipping canal. Despite the ill-fated destiny of SS President Coolidge, today she's one of the most incredible wrecks divers can experience anywhere in the world. Due to the wreck's accessibility, great visibility, and location, the ship ranks as one of the globe's top 10 dive sites. 6. The finds of Europe's droughts. Things often remain hidden underwater, and we typically only find out about them when the water recedes. That was the case for many historic artifacts around Europe in the summer of 2022, when widespread heatwaves and droughts led to many fascinating discoveries across the continent. Some of the relics that were uncovered from their watery resting places were amazing pieces of history. For example, in Rome, the river Tiber's water level dropped to the point where under the modern bridge called the Vittorio Emanuele II, another bridge's remains could be seen underneath it. This bridge is thought to date back to 50 AD, which means it was likely commissioned by Emperor Nero during the Roman Empire. In 1926, researchers and archaeologists in Spain were given a rare chance to study the dolmen of Guadalparal. The site is sometimes referred to as the Spanish Stonehenge. However, it was intentionally flooded in 1963 in order to make room for a new residential project. Since the Circle of Stones was submerged, it's only been visible on 4 occasions, so scientists need to make the most of it when it's accessible. Some things that were hidden underwater were a bit more sinister, though. At another river in Italy, the River Po, citizens were evacuated from a village near the city of Mantua after the receding river uncovered an unexploded bomb from World War II. More dangerous war-era leftovers were uncovered in the Serbian stretch of the River Danube, where part of a Nazi fleet emerged from the water, still loaded with explosives. Across the river Elms banks, which runs from Germany all the way to the Czech Republic, many stones with carvings etched into them began to appear. These hunger stones were left as a warning from previous generations to let others know that if the stones became visible again, there would likely be a famine. 5. The ancient city of Pavlo-Petry. In 1904, the Greek geologist Fokion Negri reported that there was an ancient city submerged beneath the waves between the coast of southern Laconia and the Greek island of Elafonisos. However, his claims would go ignored for over 60 years until oceanographer Dr. Nicholas Fleming decided to study the area in 1967. He would find out that what Negri had said was true, and there truly was a sunken ancient city at that location. Fleming went back to the site a year later to do a full investigation. Working with a team of scientists, they were able to map out the scale of the city, which was named Pavlo-Petry, and even determine just how old the site actually was. What they found was astonishing. There were remnants of buildings, organized streets, and even squares. What's even more fascinating is that most of these structures were built between 1680 and 1180 BC in the Mycenaean period, making them over 2,000 years old. And although most of the construction dates to this period, Pavlo-Petry itself was apparently much older. The experts on the dive from the University of Cambridge estimated that the city was first inhabited in 2800 BC. In 2009, a full 40 years later, another study was carried out at the site by Dr. Chrysanthi Frenchman and Dr. John Henderson from the University of Nottingham. This time, they used advanced scanning techniques that allowed researchers to identify 15 buildings that each had over 12 individual rooms. And despite the fact that Pavlo-Petry was a prehistoric settlement, they uncovered water pipes, canals, and even a water management system. So why did this city end up underwater? Although scientists can't narrow down an exact date, they all seem to be in agreement that it was likely a massive earthquake that forced Pavlo-Petry beneath the waves. 4. The sunken city of Xicheng. Xicheng was once a walled Chinese city with architecture dating back to the Ming and Qing dynasties, which ruled from 1368 to 1912. With the name meaning Lion City in Mandarin, you'd expect it to be a fiercely protected heritage site. However, this isn't exactly the case. In 1959, the city of Xicheng was intentionally flooded to create the Zinan Dam as well as a hydroelectric power station. It wasn't as though Xicheng was abandoned either. Over 300,000 people were forced to leave their homes, many of whom could trace their family tree back for centuries in the city. Xicheng remained submerged and forgotten for 42 years, until the Chinese government decided to survey the site in 2001 in order to see how the flooded city was faring under the water. A further expedition by the Chinese National Geography that took place 10 years later gave those on the surface access to never-before-seen pictures of the sunken city. They also released some illustrations based on those images, showing what the city would have looked like at the peak of its occupation. The city's walls were likely built in the 1500s, and unlike other walled cities in China, Xicheng had 5 entrance gates, rather than the usual 4 seen at other settlements. The city was rather small, and only spanned across half a square kilometer, but what it lacked in size, it made up for with its elaborate 256 stone arches, which depicted dragons, lions, and phoenixes. Amazingly, the water seems to have been a saving grace for preserving Xicheng. The calm waters of Qingdao Lake provide it with protection from the sun, wind, and rain. Today, divers can book a trip down to see the sunken city and experience the wonder of what some people call China's Atlantis for themselves. 3. Cenote Angelita's underwater river. In the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico is the Cenote Angelita Cave. Cenotes are natural sinkholes caused by the erosion of limestone rock, which reveal underground pools of water. They're enjoyed by locals and tourists alike for their relaxing and unique atmosphere. However, Cenote Angelita is different than most. Underneath the waters of the cave is a flowing underwater river. The presence of hydrogen sulfide causes this breathtaking natural phenomenon to occur. The substance is heavier than salt water, allowing it to sink and settle to the bottom of the riverbed, creating a layer of the underwater river. This process is similar to how a layered cocktail relies upon the density of each ingredient to keep them separate. The cave can reach a depth of almost 330 feet in certain places. Divers that visit the cenote will want to follow this underwater river from above rather than swimming through it. It does, however, make for quite a beautiful journey, with trees and other foliage lining the underwater riverbanks. Would you want to swim in an underwater river? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. 2. Zemchug Canyon. Despite being one of the globe's most popular tourist attractions, the Grand Canyon in Arizona isn't actually the largest canyon in the world. If you want to find the biggest one, you'll need to look underwater. Zemchug Canyon is located in the Bering Sea just off the coast of Alaska. The canyon was named after the Soviet research ship that discovered it, but the word Zemchug also means pearl in Russian. It forms a T-shape on the ocean floor and is over 20% wider and deeper than the Grand Canyon. Although it's hard to measure the full scope of the underwater gorge, it plunges over 8,500 feet into the Aleutian Basin. Due to the sheer scope and depth of the Zemchug Canyon, it's impossible for us to explore most of it, especially the deeper levels. However, in 2007, deep-sea diver Michelle Ridgway embarked on a solo mission in a tiny 8-foot-long submarine to see what was down there. She wasn't able to go right to the bottom of the canyon, where it reaches the Aleutian Basin, but Ridgway was able to descend to 1,757 feet to a small shelf. Even then, the marine life she saw was fascinating. Curiously, though, they all seem to have something in common with each other. Despite being diverse species, all the creatures at that depth were various colors of yellow and orange. Ridgway noted that they ranged in hue from pale gold to brick red. It's unknown why the creatures share this color, but it's a mystery that Ridgway and other marine scientists are hoping to solve. In the future, they also plan to learn more in general about the vast and enigmatic Zemchug Canyon. 1. A 900-year-old Crusader's sword. In October 2021, Shlomi Katzin was diving off the Carmel coast in Israel when he made a remarkable discovery just 15 feet below the surface. The area is known to have a lot of history, but Katzin was stunned when he pulled a sword from the bottom of the water. Although it might sound like a legend, it wasn't exactly a shining blade, but instead a rusting piece of metal encrusted in barnacles and coral in the shape of a sword. However, underneath all of its biological crust, it was almost perfectly preserved. This discovery was made all the more significant when it was determined that the sword dates back over 900 years, during the times of the Holy Crusades. This wasn't the only thing that Katzin was able to find on his dive either. He also uncovered anchors made out of stone and metal, as well as pottery. All of the items that he found dated back between the 11th and 13th centuries. Katzin was able to make these finds, which had been hidden for centuries thanks to a shift in the sands. However, the sand can move again just as quickly, so the diver tried to recover all that he could so he could bring them to the IAA, Israel's Antiquities Authority, to be recorded and analyzed. After examining the weapon, the IAA didn't have any clues as to who exactly would have wielded the sword. They did, however, determine that the owner of the weapon had to have been fairly strong and capable. The blade, made of solid iron, needs to be held with 2 hands, and if you were also wearing heavy armor at the same time, holding the sword would have been a feat that many people would struggle to accomplish. The Carmel Coast has long been an area of archaeological significance, due to the fact that it's been used as a port for thousands of years. This is partly because of natural coves formed in the coastline, which provide protection for boats and other vessels in harsh weather conditions. As a result, many settlements sprung up around these coves, and merchants from all over the world and across the Mediterranean would frequently stop there, creating a wealth of treasures on the seafloor.
9. The Akula class. If you're looking for a fast, stealthy, and powerful submarine, let us introduce you to the Akula class. This nuclear-powered attack submarine originated in the Soviet Union in 1986. The term Akula translates to shark in Russian, though it's worth noting that it's also the name of another type of Soviet submarine, the Typhoon-class ballistic missile submarine. To differentiate between the two, the Akula-class attack submarines are also referred to as Project 971, Shuka B, Pike B in Russia. The Akula-class submarine is an impressive vessel that can do amazing things. It can reach speeds of up to 35 knots, or 40 miles per hour underwater, and can dive to depths exceeding 1,600 feet, or 500 meters. Equipped with an array of gadgets and stealth features, it possesses the ability to evade detection and capture by adversaries. Its arsenal also includes up to 40 torpedoes and missiles, some of which are capable of sinking ships, targeting other submarines, or striking land-based objectives. The Akula-class submarine is one of the coolest and scariest subs in the world. It can sneak up on surface ships and other vessels, especially in the Arctic, where it can hide under the ice. The Russian Navy has made 15 Akula-class submarines, and 9 of them are still actively in service today. One of them, the K-152 Nirpa, was leased to India in 2012 and renamed INS Chakra, and the Akula-class submarines are anticipated to remain operational until at least 2030. 8. The Ohio-class. The Ohio-class submarine is widely considered one of the most powerful submarines in the world, particularly in terms of its weapon-carrying capability. The U.S. Navy currently operates 18 Ohio-class submarines, with 14 of them classified as ballistic missile submarines, SSBNs, and the remaining 4 as cruise missile submarines, SSGNs. Each submarine measures 560 feet in length, or 170 meters, and has a displacement of 18,750 tons, or 17,009,714 kilograms. Powered by nuclear reactors, these subs have the ability to remain submerged for extended periods without surfacing. The Ohio-class SSBNs, alongside strategic bombers and intercontinental ballistic missiles, form the 3 pillars of the American nuclear deterrent. Each SSBN is capable of carrying up to 20 Trident II D5 submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or SLBMs, each of which can be armed with up to 12 nuclear warheads. The Trident II D5 has a range of over 7,000 miles, or 11,265 kilometers, and can strike targets with high accuracy. The SSBNs patrol the world's oceans, ready to launch their missiles in response to a surprise attack on the U.S. The Ohio-class SSGNs are converted from SSBNs and serve a distinct role. Instead of carrying SLBMs, they're equipped to carry up to 154 Tomahawk Land Attack Cruise Missiles, TLAMs. These missiles can strike targets on land with conventional or nuclear warheads. The SSGNs can also carry Special Operations Forces and unmanned underwater vehicles for covert missions. The SSGNs provide the U.S. with flexible and stealthy strike options in various regions. The Ohio-class submarines are the largest and most advanced submarines ever built for the U.S. Navy. They're designed to operate silently, and they possess a significant array of weapons. They can also prioritize mission completion under any circumstances. 7. Type 039A class. The Type 039A stealth submarine, also known as the Song-class submarine, is the latest addition to China's Navy. These submarines are specifically designed with stealth capabilities and incorporate advanced technologies and weaponry. Powered by diesel-electric engines, they can operate for extended periods of time without resurfacing. This endurance makes them well-suited for various tasks, including information collection, reconnaissance, and anti-submarine warfare. Equipped with advanced sonar and radar systems, the Type 039A submarines can detect and track enemy vessels from considerable distances. Additionally, they're fitted with a variety of weapons, such as torpedoes, anti-ship missiles, and mines, making them a formidable force in the world's oceans. One of the most impressive features of these submarines is their stealth technology. Their hulls are coated with advanced materials that absorb sonar waves and make them almost invisible to enemy radar. They're also equipped with a variety of noise reduction technologies, like special propellers and sound-absorbing materials. And in terms of dimensions, the Type 039A class submarines measure approximately 229 feet in length, or 70 meters, and weigh around 4,000 tons, or 3,628,739 kilograms. And with a crew of around 60 people, these subs can reach speeds of up to 20 knots, or 23 miles per hour, underwater. Overall, the Type 039A stealth submarines represent a major advancement in China's naval capabilities. With their advanced technology and weaponry, they're sure to play a critical role in future conflicts and further enhance China's growing military influence in the world. 6. Oscar Class. Have you ever heard of the Oscar Class submarine? It was one of the most remarkable and scariest submarines ever made by Russia. Renowned for its stealth capabilities, it was nicknamed the Panther in Russian. With its huge size and powerful weapons, this submarine was a beast that could rule the oceans. The Oscar class had 24 missiles that could fly over 600 miles, or 965 kilometers, and explode with a big bang. Additionally, it carried 6 torpedoes, allowing for various missions like reconnaissance of other submarines or engaging enemy ships. It was like a Swiss Army knife of submarines. Another amazing thing about the Oscar-class sub was its propulsion system, which utilized nuclear power and steam, enabling remarkable speed. It could get up to speeds of 30 miles per hour, or 48 kilometers per hour underwater, which is faster than some land-based vehicles. The Oscar-class submarine was used until the end of the 1990s, which is when it was retired. However, it still shows how awesome Russia was at making submarines. Its sneaky skills and advanced technology have inspired many of the new submarines that are used today. The Oscar-class submarine was a remarkably advanced and formidable war machine that revolutionized submarine construction. Even today, it reminds us of Russia's past achievements in the sea and its ongoing efforts to stay on top of submarine technology. 5. Kilo Class. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a Kilo-class submarine? Manufactured in Russia, these submarines are renowned for their stealth and versatility. They're alternatively referred to as Project 877 Paltus or Project 636 Varshavyanka, depending on the version. And it's worth noting that while the Russians utilize them, many other countries have also acquired them, including China, Vietnam, Algeria, and Venezuela. Compared to other submarines, Kilo-class submarines are relatively compact. They measure approximately 229 feet in length, or 70 meters, 33 feet in width, or 10 meters, and can accommodate up to 52 crew members. With 6 torpedo tubes, they possess the capability to launch anti-ship missiles and mines. However, it's important to note that not all versions are equipped with surface-to-air missiles for self-defense. The remarkable feature of the Kilo-class submarines lies in their ability to operate silently underwater. They employ a diesel-electric propulsion system that significantly reduces their acoustic signature. Furthermore, they have an impressive submerged endurance, allowing them to stay submerged for up to 45 days. This stealth capability enables them to approach and engage enemies without detection. Kilo-class submarines are primarily designed for coastal operations, including anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface warfare, reconnaissance, and patrol missions. They're adept at operating in shallow waters and maneuvering through narrow channels. These submarines can also achieve impressive depths, with a diving capability of up to 984 feet, or 300 meters, which is noteworthy for a diesel-electric submarine. Some Kilo-class submarines have undergone upgrades, incorporating new features such as improved sonar systems, enhanced navigation equipment, and more advanced weaponry. Certain variants are also capable of launching Caliber cruise missiles, boasting a range of up to 1,553 miles, or 2,500 kilometers, effectively targeting both land-based and sea-based objectives. So, if you ever have the opportunity to visit a Kilo-class submarine, take it. You'll be captivated by its compact size, formidable weaponry, and silent performance. And while it may appear unassuming from the outside, it's indeed a powerful vessel. If you came up with a design for a submarine, what new features would you add to it? Let us know your thoughts down below. And while you're at it, subscribe. 4. The Columbia Class. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to serve aboard a technologically advanced submarine capable of launching nuclear missiles anywhere on the planet? If you're a member of the U.S. Navy's submarine force, you might soon have the opportunity to experience it firsthand. The Navy is currently developing a new class of submarines that will surpass all previous advancements in terms of sophistication and power, known as the Columbia-class submarine. It's designed as the successor to the Ohio-class submarines, which have been in service since the 1980s. The Columbia-class will incorporate numerous improvements over its predecessor, including a quieter propulsion system, enhanced living areas with more space and comfort, and a more versatile and reliable missile launch system. Additionally, the Columbia-class will boast an extended lifespan of up to 42 years before requiring a major overhaul. One of the most remarkable features of the Columbia-class is its firepower. Each submarine will be equipped with 16 Trident II D5LE missiles, regarded as the most precise and devastating nuclear weapons in the U.S. arsenal. These missiles have the capability to carry up to 8 independently targetable warheads, enabling a single submarine to engage up to 128 different locations simultaneously. Such capability has the potential to inflict substantial damage, including the ability to eradicate an entire continent or trigger global nuclear winter. However, the Columbia-class submarine isn't solely a weapon of mass destruction. It serves as a powerful deterrent as well. Concealed beneath the ocean's depths, it can evade detection and potential retaliation from adversaries. Furthermore, the submarine is equipped with advanced underwater communication systems, enabling seamless coordination with other submarines and surface ships. The Columbia-class is designed to be prepared for any situation, whether it involves crises, conflicts, or peacekeeping missions. The first Columbia-class submarine is anticipated to enter service by 2031, and the Navy has plans to construct a total of 12 submarines by 2042. Undoubtedly, the Columbia-class submarine will serve as a great source of pride for the U.S. Navy and as a stalwart guardian of the nation's security for decades to come. 3. The Seawolf Class. The United States Navy operates a class of nuclear-powered fast attack submarines, SSN, known as the Seawolf Class. These submarines are recognized as the most expensive and technologically advanced vessels ever constructed for the U.S. Navy, and they also hold the distinction of being the quietest submarines ever built. The Seawolf class was initially developed during the Cold War to counter the threat posed by advanced Soviet submarines in deep ocean waters. However, due to budget constraints and evolving strategic priorities, following the end of the Cold War, the U.S. Navy reduced the planned number of Seawolf submarines from 29 to 3. The 3 active Seawolf-class submarines are the USS Seawolf, SSN-21, USS Connecticut, SSN-22, and USS Jimmy Carter, SSN-23. The Seawolf class incorporates various features that contribute to its exceptional stealth capabilities and make it difficult to detect by hostile forces. For instance, the submarines feature a hydrodynamic hull shape that minimizes drag and noise. Additionally, they employ a pump jet propeller, which eliminates the noise produced by conventional propellers. The use of a special steel alloy in the Seawolf class enhances its strength and reduces its magnetic signature, thereby improving its resistance to water pressure and minimizing vulnerability to magnetic detection. In terms of detection and tracking capabilities, the Seawolf class is equipped with a sophisticated sonar system capable of long-range detection of enemy vessels. This sonar system includes a large spherical sonar array, a wide aperture array, and a towed array. Furthermore, the sonar system can operate in passive mode, enabling the submarine to listen to environmental sounds without emitting active sonar waves. This enhances the stealthiness of the Seawolf class by preventing the disclosure of its location or presence to enemy sonar operators. The Seawolf class is armed with a range of weapons suitable for various missions and scenarios. Its armament includes up to 50 torpedoes, cruise missiles, and anti-ship missiles, accommodated with 8 torpedo tubes and 2 vertical launch systems. Additionally, the Seawolf class possesses the capability to deploy unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs, and special forces teams from its lockout chambers. This versatility allows the Seawolf class to undertake multiple roles, including anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface warfare, intelligence gathering, covert operations, and mine warfare. 2. The Gotland class. The Swedish Navy possesses a distinct type of submarine, renowned for its prolonged submerged capabilities without requiring air. Referred to as the Gotland class submarine, it utilizes a unique engine known as the Stirling Engine Air Independent Propulsion (AIP) system. This engine enables the submarine to operate on liquid oxygen and diesel, eliminating the need for air and allowing it to remain submerged for over 2 weeks. The Gotland-class submarine not only boasts extended endurance, but also possesses impressive versatility and capabilities. It can achieve speeds of up to 20 knots, or 23 miles per hour underwater, and dive to depths exceeding 500 feet, 150 meters. Equipped with an array of sensors and weapons, it's proficient in detecting and engaging adversaries. With a capacity to carry up to 18 torpedoes and 48 mines, including those capable of sinking ships, disabling other submarines, or targeting land-based objectives, the Gotland-class submarine exhibits considerable offensive potential. Regarding stealth and advanced technology, the Gotland-class submarine ranks among the most sophisticated in the world. Its ability to remain submerged for extensive durations enables it to elude detection and surveillance. The Swedish Navy has constructed 3 Gotland-class submarines so far, all of which are currently in active service. Notably, one of these submarines, the HSWMS Gotland, was leased to the United States Navy in 2005 and 2007, during which it demonstrated its exceptional stealth capabilities by successfully evading detection by U.S. defenses. The Gotland-class submarines are expected to remain in service until at least 2025. 1. Astute class. Astute-class submarines are a masterpiece of modern engineering. These submarines are specially designed to maintain a low acoustic profile and are equipped with state-of-the-art technology, like advanced sonar and communication systems. These submarines are built to achieve efficient performance in different environments, including shallow and deep waters. The Astute-class submarines are incredibly silent, making them extremely difficult to track and detect. They're powered by a nuclear reactor, which allows them to remain underwater for extended periods, giving them a strategic advantage in the theater of war. Additionally, these submarines are equipped with torpedo tubes and missile tubes, which can launch Tomahawk cruise missiles at targets on land as well as under the sea. The Astute-class submarines have several advanced capabilities, including the ability to collect intelligence, conduct surveillance, and launch covert operations. They can carry out a range of missions, like anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface warfare, and strike warfare. These submarines are also designed to operate in complex and diverse environments with agility, speed, and stealth. One of the most significant features of the Astute-class submarines is its control room, which is equipped with advanced computer systems that enable the crew to track and identify potential targets. Additionally, the submarine is equipped with a periscope that provides a clear view of the surface and a digital map system that displays the submarine's position and the location of other ships and submarines in the area. Overall, the Astute-class submarines are an impressive technological feat, designed to be stealthy, agile, and versatile. They're incredibly advanced and hold a strategic advantage in any military operation. These submarines represent the future of naval warfare, providing unmatched capabilities for the submarine fleet of any country that operates them. Would you rather work on a submarine or on the International Space Station? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.